Welcome to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. I'm Lauren Collier, and look at this. Look at these little piggies. There's something so soothing about being around animals. We're here in Scotland, Connecticut at Graysland Animal Sanctuary, which is actually part of their core mission, helping save animals who then help save humans.
Yes, so our mission here is not only to rescue animals, but also to help people. We really want to create a true sanctuary for both the animals and for people.
And why is that so important to you, Jen?
Animals have really helped me through a lot of tough times in my life. They're just so resilient themselves. They set such a great example for us about how to just, adjust to any kind of circumstance. I've had a lot of special needs animals, and it's always really amazing to see how well they adjust and how little it really affects them. And I really think that we can learn something from them.
I find it very calming to be here.
It is. Anytime I have a stressful day, I just come out here and just kind of melts away. I sit and I pet one of the goats or groom Miss Horse or something like that. And it's just, you can't be stressed when you're out here.
Because it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but it's almost meditative, when I come out here in the morning and I have my routine, feed everybody and muck everything. It's hard to be upset about it, all the work, because it's just so peaceful.
How many are here, and what are some of your favorite rescue stories?
I think we said there were about 60 animals total, but some of my favorite rescue stories, recently we rescued Scarlet. She actually had been a classroom pig when she was smaller. So it was even sadder, I think, because she had used to been around people and having that interaction with people. And then when she got too big, which is what happens all the time with pigs, they get too big and people can't keep them, she got sent to the farm that we rescued her from, and she was bred multiple times. Her piglets were used for meat, and the farm was getting out of pigs. So we were able to rescue her, and another rescue that we're friends with down the road rescued another one of the pigs, and they both were pregnant. Scarlet just had 7 piglets just about 2 weeks ago.
They're so
another bonus rescue. We had no idea how many pigs we were actually going to rescue that day. Miss Horse, whose name is technically Candy, but we never call her Candy, came to us as an owner surrender with 3 goats, Moses, Percy, and Winston. We were supposed to hold the goats over the winter until another friend could take the goats, but we saw how connected Miss Horse was with her goats. They were her family, and we really didn't want to break that up. So they're all still living here.
And what about Joey? Joey really sticks out, and he's got a great story.
Joey was an animal who was bred as part of an agricultural program at a local university. The first year students are assigned an animal to work with, and at the end of the semester they show the animal, so they have a big show, and then the next day they auction the animals. We all know what that means. But this student had fallen in love with her steer that she was working with, Joey, and she couldn't bear to see him go to auction. So she raised the money to buy him outright without him going to auction. She contacted us to see if we would be able to give him a forever home. He's been here almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years coming up in the fall.
So Jen, I noticed you have some fashionable looking chickens here.
Yeah, those are actually serve a purpose. These hens live with a rooster, Parsley, and he can be a little rough sometimes. So that's just to protect them from his claws.
What really amazes me, Jen, is you have a regular full-time job, and here you are, and you started this beautiful sanctuary. And there's really a kind of a cute story about how you and Dave got together and are now together.
Yeah, well, Dave and I met through a dating app. And of course, one of the things on my profile said, must love dogs. I mean, I didn't say anything about goats and pigs and mini horses, so I think he wasn't sure exactly what he was getting into. But at least he knew about part of it.
So Dave, you really didn't know what you were getting into?
No, I had no idea. I just knew there was going to be a couple of dogs and cats, which was fine. And she wanted a couple of barn animals, and it just exploded.
Well,
It's
now
just-
you're married, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
that's that.
all the animals are really awesome, and they're a lot of fun and very enjoyable to be out here with, and especially the cow. He's like my big baby. Yeah.
Now, this is expensive, of course, so you will need help probably. So how can people get involved with you? I know as volunteers or to help fund.
We are always looking for volunteers to help out and people either to help with fundraising or to become donors, of course. We also have sponsorships, so we try to have one sponsor per animal to really keep it very personalized. You can find all of this information either on our Facebook or Instagram, as well as our website, and of course, email me.
And finally, again, you mentioned this, you're hoping when things calm down that you will have people even come here so that you can continue, as you said, your mission, which is to help them kind of out, a human,
Yeah.
as well as the animals that you've saved.
Yeah, and some of that is still kind of formulating. We want to do things like yoga and meditations, have maybe artist days where artists can come and draw or paint and or photograph our animals. You know, we will probably be offering private and semi-private tours and visitations, and that's just to keep it a sanctuary for both the animals and for the people who come and visit.
Ah, that was so great. Can you believe I'm petting a steer named Joey? He's so cute. Ah, terrific place, absolutely fantastic. And when we come back, we have a fantastic update for you from the Connecticut Beardsley Zoo. Stay tuned, Lauren's Crazy Pet Show's coming right back. Welcome back to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. We're still on the farm. Well, not really. We're at the Connecticut Beardsley Zoo and they are open again.
Hi everyone, and Lauren, welcome back to Connecticut Beardsley Zoo. We're so happy that you're here. We're also happy that our guests are come back to us. I think the animals are very happy to see you come back also.
Behind you.
And right behind me you can see there's Zaya, one of our tiger cubs, quote unquote cubs.
I can't believe it.
She's no longer a cub, but she, again, the day that we had our guests come back, she has been, I think, a lot happier seeing people walk by and knowing that things are going a little bit back to normal.
And I love that because she seems very happy to have you right here. And she always recognizes you when we come here. I want to believe she recognizes me too because when they were babies.
I think she does.
She was on my lap.
She was
so
on your
cool.
lap. Yeah, think about having her on your lap right now.
I don't know. There's some exciting things going on. I know one of the things that we finally get to see is you have moved your baby anteater in with the monkeys,
Yeah,
right?
yes, that's right. Well, a couple things we did over the winter time. We did our new spider monkey habitat. We were able to take our Tupi, our young anteater, moved him away from his mom finally, and put him in with the spider monkeys. Now, what was very interesting about that is that you had two adolescent animals in there, an adolescent spider monkey, Gilligan, and an adolescent anteater, Tupi, and they played like adolescents. They were really fun to watch. Today maybe a little warm to see that, but again, they do it on a regular basis, and as they get used to each other, it gets a little less fun for them, but it was really good to put our anteater outside with our spider monkeys, and that way you can see spider monkeys in the spider monkey habitat, anteaters there, and you can see anteaters in the anteater in the Pampas Plains. So we're hoping next year we have another baby anteater to come out with putting mom and dad back together again.
Wow, and you know, we're always hoping that you have a little panda baby.
We're hoping for pandas. We keep our fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. Again, you never know.
And now when we're seeing the leopards.
Leopards,
those
yeah.
two,
I mean, it's interesting. People come up to see the leopard
babies.
cubs. They're not cubs anymore. They are now getting to be about adult size. It's pretty amazing to see how big they've grown.
They're beautiful.
In
I mean,
a very short
beyond.
period of time.
I see people just standing there staring, really what seems like hours, but you just can't help it. You've got to come see those.
No, they are doing very well.
They are so beautiful.
Again, the male, he's gotten, Orion has gotten so large, and he's looking like a male. In fact, on certain days you hear him vocalizing just like his dad did. Interesting to watch them grow and see them being born and see them grow up is really satisfying for me.
Amazing.
The other thing that's really cool is that we also opened up our upper farmyard. Our upper farmyard's been opened up. We moved our ponies and our goats up there. Our new stage area is completed. Unfortunately, we're not doing any outside programs at this point, but again, we're getting geared up to ready to do that, hopefully as we get into different phases in Connecticut. So we'll have entertainment programs on there, we'll have education programs on there, and also a new home for the goats and the ponies until we get the lower farmyard completed for the goats to move back down.
Well,
so
it's still nice
we're
to
excited
come
about that.
and watch, I mean, and see. It's really a stress buster. Also, you got a new wolf.
And we have a new wolf that came in. Yeah, she just came in, and it's part of Red Wolf program. Again, these are endangered species, extinct, almost extinct in the wild. We put back in the wild, are not doing very well. We're now looking at, again, breeding of these animals, having babies to keep the population going. Hopefully the program will be reinstituted back in the wild. We'll get some babies back out in the wild again. We just had a new Andean condor come in here, which is a companion animal for Teresita, our female.
Wow.
Her name is Princess. Right now in the introductory phase, they can see each other but actually haven't been put together yet. We leave them that way for a few weeks just so they get used to each other before we introduce them.
And bravo to you, because it's just one more thing that you do towards conservation.
That's right.
And people should know that.
Yeah, if we're going to do work here,
That's
if we're
your
going to do
mission,
work with
really.
animals, we want to work with animals that need help. I think as we go through this next year, we're going to see that become very, very important, as a lot of us are struggling right now because of the 3-month hiatus, because of the restrictions we have right now on guests, how many guests we can have. It's really going to be a challenge for us in the next few years, especially for smaller institutions like us that really do a tremendous lot of work with some of the most endangered species of animals on the planet.
Welcome back.
Thank you. We welcome all our guests back.
We are just so excited that the zoo is open again. And when you come and visit, don't forget about the prairie dogs. They've got little babies. Oh, they are so cute. There's 2 colonies of them, and you can see them clearly. I know they look like little squirrels, but they're not. They're prairie dogs. You could just stand here for hours watching them. So cool. Now, when we get back, we're going to transition from these beautiful little baby prairie dogs to the most adorable baby birds. You just have to see them. Stay tuned. Lauren's Crazy Pet Show's coming right back. Welcome back to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. Look, we promised you babies, and this is so special. This is a baby purple martin, and you too can attract them to your yard.
Hi, I'm Deb. We've had purple martins in our yard for over 10 years. We're here in Connecticut and we enjoy these birds. They're fascinating, the largest swallow in North America. We're happy to provide them with homes.
And how many do you have?
We have, right now, we have 27 nests.
Wow.
Lots of eggs and young. They're in the process of hatching right now, and we monitor them and keep track of them.
It's a really hands-on experience.
Very much hands-on. It's very much hands-on, and if we do handle the birds, sometimes we will do a nest change. The parent birds it does not matter, and they don't really have a sense of smell. So we're quick and cautious how we do it, but it's really a fallacy that you can't touch them.
Your granddaughter, who's absolutely adorable, is here today helping you as well.
Oh yeah, and she's done it since she was born, coming out and looking. Every summer we look in and monitor, and she knows a lot about it for a 5-year-old.
It's great, and she's so cute. Now I noticed the nests, but they're not really called nests. They're called pods, or they look like squash.
Yeah, they're gourds.
Gourds.
And they're made out of plastic, and they imitate a real gourd, and that's how the Native Americans had provided homes for them back, many years ago. And they depend on humans for their housing in the eastern half of the United States.
So it's really amazing to think that this has been going on for so many years back to the Native Americans, and that's really, I guess, where it got started, that they were living in these gourds.
Yes, it sounds from what I've learned that they like human activity, and maybe that has helped them be safe from predators. Snakes, especially in the south, can be a big problem. Owls at night can really cause a lot of damage on a colony. So I think they became used to and probably preferred the human-made, and that's what they depend on in the eastern part of the United States.
It's amazing how they can adapt, but they love it. They
Yeah.
seem very happy here, certainly.
They are.
They're really beautiful too. Now they're called purple martins, but they kind of look a little blue, so it's deceiving.
They do look blue, but the adult male, when the light refracts or reflects off of their feathers, it really is a purpley color.
What happens every year? Is it the elders come back? How does that work? It's an interesting cycle.
Yes, every year year, they migrate to Brazil.
To Brazil?
Yes.
Wow.
And they summer in the Amazon basin area.
There are no dummies going to Brazil on vacation.
No,
right?
lots of food. That's where they go because there's lots of food in the wintertime. Then they migrate back up here and they will make that trip. It's thousands of miles and they'll do that every year.
So we were at Milford Point when they started to arrive. So how long do they stay and what is their season?
They usually come the beginning of April. We keep track of when the first sighting is. They come in April and then they usually wrap up, their breeding by the beginning of August, and by mid-August they've left to start their migration. Right now they're very active because they're feeding their young. So they're going to be in and out all day long because they've got 4, 5, 6 young to feed, and that's a lot of birds to catch insects for.
We should let people know that the statistics that you're writing down about how many birds, that goes into a bigger bank, so to speak.
Yes, it does. It does. It goes to the Purple Martin Conservation Association, which is in Erie, Pennsylvania.
And this must be really satisfying for you. It is work because you do keep the charts. And
it is.
It's something that's
It's
also
a labor of love,
Yeah,
I guess you would
absolutely.
say. It's a labor of love and a love of the species and wanting to help our environment.
Now, if somebody wanted to get involved, what would you say they could do? Because anybody could have this in their backyard.
Anybody could have this in your backyard, as long as you have an open area. That's what's most important. You can't have your houses or your gourds near trees. You could start a small progress for a couple $100 probably, and do a few gourds. You wouldn't want to start out with 4 poles right away. We started out with 1, and then we grew as the numbers increased every year. We'd say, oh boy, we better get another one.
Wow, I can't believe I held those little babies right in my hands. Okay, when we get back, we have a really powerful story. We're going to see firsthand how the bond between humans and animals can get you through some of the hardest times, even during war. Stay tuned. Lauren's Crazy Pet Show's coming right back. Welcome back to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. It's so important to remember our military heroes, all of our veterans, and all the sacrifices they make for us and continue to make. But that also includes remembering our 4-legged military friends.
Oh, my name's Ron Aiello. I'm president of the United States War Dogs Association, and I was one of the first Marine Scout dog teams to be deployed to Vietnam with my dog Stormy. We were forward scouts. We would go out in front of patrols, whether it would be a few feet if we were in the heavy thick of jungles, or if we're in the rice paddies, we could be out 500 yards up ahead, and our job was to detect any danger that was ahead of us, whether it was a sniper in a tree, an enemy ambush, a booby trap mine. My dog Stormy would detect it, and then I would try to decipher what she's trying to tell me. I would then relay that information back to the patrol leader, and then they would take whatever action needed. And that was basically our job, was to keep the troops, the Marines behind us, safe from any danger that lay ahead.
Wow, I had no idea that dogs did that in the military. That's just really, I guess, one of the many things they do.
Well, in Vietnam, we had Army and Marine Corps had scout dogs, which were forward scouts. The dog team, dog and a handler would go forward. The Army had tracker teams. That was like a dog and a handler and 4 soldiers. Their job was to reestablish contact with the enemy. Now in Vietnam, you had thousands and thousands of miles of tunnels. So the tracker team would track them and find out where they went to, and then inform the troops. Then we'd have reestablished contact with the enemy.
Most people think of the Bin Laden raid.
Right, yeah, they're on the raids. And then all branches of the military had sentry dogs, which were to secure all secure areas, air bases, the ammo dumps.
Did Stormy start your mission to do the War Dogs Association?
That was part of it, yes. A lot of people ask me, what was that bond like? I think really hard, and I'm trying to describe what the bond was, and the only thing I could say to them, I haven't seen my dog in over 53 years, and I still miss her. You live together 24/7. You do everything together. You go to the bathroom, your dog's with you. Your dog goes to the bathroom, you're with him. You eat together, you sleep together, you work together on patrol. You never leave each other's side.
And how long were you together?
We were together 16 months.
And then what, you had to split up at the end? How does that work?
Unfortunately, there was 30 of us, and about 6 of us volunteered to do another extension for another tour. But they said, no, you can't, because they already had replacements coming in for us. They had been trained with training dogs, and then they were flying over to relieve us. So they said, you can't. You want to stay in as a Marine grunt in the infantry, you could do that. And then we said, no. So the handler came in, and I sat down with the handler that was going to take over Stormy. And for about maybe 3 hours, we sat together, and I told him everything about Stormy, you know, what she liked, her dislikes, how she alerted, different types of alerts and everything. And I basically shook his hand and wished him good luck and walked away at that point. I could never come back to the base at all. Was not allowed to, because if I came back and Stormy saw me and he was working with her, she wouldn't pay attention to him, because in her mind, I'm still her handler. So I could never go back and see her. But then, you know, at the end of his tour, 12, 13 months later, he had to do the exact same thing. I have met all her handlers that had her after me. And I have a photo of her in July of 1970, and she was still over there leading patrols and finding the bombs and everything else. She was still doing. I was very proud of her. The dogs didn't come back from Vietnam. We had about 4,300 dogs in Vietnam. We turned over a number of them over to the South Vietnamese Army, probably about 2,700 over the years. And the balance of them, other than 200, about 200 were euthanized or left behind. So for me, starting the organization, and I think for the other board members, we all did it as I guess a living memorial to the dogs that didn't come back. And so we wanted to get out there and tell people exactly what these dogs did for us in Vietnam, how they saved our lives. And not just from war, but mentally. Stormy was my personal therapy dog. And any other Marine that I was working with, it could be their therapy dog also if they wanted to come over and pet her and talk to her. And that happened a number of times.
And another thing you're really involved in is you help get some of these military dogs not only adopted, but then you help provide aftercare, including medications and things like wheelchairs.
Yeah, we have a chapter out in Texas who handles bringing dogs back. When the dog is finally retired, the handler may be back in the States and wants to adopt the dog. And they can, except they have to pay to bring the dog to the States. So we still bring the dogs back. And it gets harder and harder, because most airlines now won't put dogs on their planes, because we don't put them in cargo when we fly them. If we have somebody that could be with them, we put them in the cabin. We still do it, even though the government's not doing it. Somebody has to do it. We also, in retirement now, we provide free health insurance, prescription drugs. And when they're in war, bombs gone off, guns gone off, they can come down just like a human. The dog is a veteran with PTSD. And of course, we have programs for them also. It's called Project Thunderstorm. We have the Thunder Jackets, which gives the dog more confidence. And we have the different chews, melatonin, hemp and stuff that could calm them down. So we have all these different programs, and that's our whole job, is to help these dogs in retirement. They're only going to be living for a few years after they retire, so let's give them the best we can.
If you had to really kind of sum it up, Ron, having Stormy as your partner really completely changed your life. How would you say that
I would have been
in your
a
own
different
words?
person. If I had just gone over to Vietnam as an infantry grunt with a unit, I would maybe be dead, or I would have came back as a total, I'm not exactly all there in the first place. I got PTSD, I've always had it. But it would have been much worse for me if I didn't have Stormy. And like I said, she was my therapy dog. I could talk to her when I got nervous, something was bothering me, I could talk to her, and she looked at me like she understood. And it was a way of getting that deepness or darkness that was in me, getting it out into the light. And it just helped me and changed my whole life.
We're going to have more on this wonderful organization in an upcoming show. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been Lauren's Crazy Pet Show.